Hey, 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 this is Linda G. Robert. You're back in the groove again, coach, helping you live your best life right now so you can love what you do. I want to tell you that I've been sick. I had a cold. It started last week with a sore throat, and it progressed to not being able to breathe because my nose was stuffed up, to eventually feeling better, like today. So I was sick for about 4 days. And I want to tell you a little bit about what I went through during those 4 days, other than being sick and being in bed, not being able to move a lot because I didn't have a lot of energy. So, of course, I wondered if I had Omicron, COVID. I did a bit of search and it looked like Omicron was similar to a cold, the same, almost the same symptoms as a cold. So I thought, Jesus, what's my what's the use of getting tested? They're only going to tell me to stay home and isolate. So I never got tested. I stayed at home. I took care of what I needed to take care of. I didn't have a lot of energy to do much, but I really was kind of wondering if I should get tested or not. And that played on me. And it was more of if I get tested, then I'll know. And then what good is that going to do me? Knowing that I had this or that, in my opinion, only puts a label on things and makes me focus on that label. So I was really reluctant to get it tested. Plus, I didn't really have the energy to get out there. I'm still in Mexico, to get out there and get tested. All I know is that I wasn't feeling good. I had a cold, and I should stay indoors as much as possible. I stayed indoors and I wore a mask if I had to go do my laundry. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I started feeling better, much better today. So I went out, but I still wore a mask and that continues. The other thing that I was thinking of is, especially when I was, in bed sleeping and or resting and is what if I get sicker? What if I get sicker? Some friends knew that I was sick. I had a friend here that knew that I was sick, and I had a couple of friends in Canada that knew that I was sick. And they checked on me. My friends in Canada checked on me. But if I got any sicker, I started thinking of where could I go? There was a clinic up the street that I could have went to. I thought of going there. I have the phone number on my fridge. So that was good. I didn't need to go there, but I did have that as a plan if I needed to. So these are all things that, if you travel, especially by yourself, you should at the very least, when you're healthy, find out what is available in terms of medical help around where you live, around where you are. If you're going to a hotel room or a hotel, a resort, an Airbnb, wherever you are going, find out what's available. So that's one thing that I had done, and I have the number on my fridge, like I was mentioning. The other thing too is I also had reviewed my power of attorneys. So that was done before I left. So these things are really, really important. Power of attorneys for personal care, power of attorneys for property, for personal care and for finances, and your will. That was all updated before I left. That was important. And in terms of the address, so always give your address of where you're going to go to a few friends. I gave that to my sons. So those are things that are important. right? At the very least, somebody knows where you are. Somebody knew where I was. I have a friend that lives here. She knows where I am. And I have friends that live in Canada, and they knew the address of where I was. So that's important. The other thing that I want to say is keep in touch with your friends, even your friends back home, right? Since I've been here, I've had regular contacts with my friends. And like once a week, once a week and a half, I've been chatting with them since I left. That's, a month and a half now, almost 2 months. And so when um, when I told my friend that I was sick, I didn't tell her. She asked me how I was doing. She sent me a message, and I told her that I had been sick, and she wanted to, meet with me through Zoom, or actually it was through Facebook, and I did. So it's important to stay in contact with your friends, especially when you're single. So this is really for you if you're single, because it's a little bit different if you're married, or if you're in a couple, or if you're traveling, I should say, with somebody else. You're actually traveling with that person, because it's not the same experience at all, right? So keep in contact with your friends and maintain that contact while you're gone. And the one last thing that I'm going to say is to always have some money on hand. Now, I'm in Mexico, and I haven't used my credit card here. I'm using cash. I'm using pesos here. And I always go to the bank about every week and a half, every 2 weeks, take out the max. And I use that for my groceries and for my restaurants. I go to restaurants. So I use that cash. And so if I needed to get something, at least I have cash. If I needed to ask a neighbor, I would probably not ask a neighbor, but I would ask the person who takes care of the building. If I needed to ask him to get me something, like aspirins, I didn't have aspirins. I bought some today. I could have used some aspirins because I had a headache too. But at the very least, then you have cash on hand to ask somebody to get something for you. Or, because I've been using DD Driver. Mind you, I could use my credit card with them. It goes directly to my credit card. If I ask for a taxi, not for a taxi, for a drive, I can either pay cash or through my debit credit card. So that's something else to keep in mind if you need a ride to get somewhere. So you either have cash on hand, or you add a credit card to those DD type of drivers or Uber drivers. And I think that's all I want to say. I might say a little bit more, but it wasn't scary, because I really I didn't think I had COVID. I didn't think I had Omicron. But to be honest with you, it drives me nuts knowing that, a lot of people in Canada, in my home province, Ontario, are telling me every day the cases are going up, the cases are going up. And, government is telling them to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and so on. And I don't pay a lot of attention to the news here, primarily because I don't speak Spanish. I think it's helpful because I don't think of getting Omicron. I'm not worried